Weakness to warrior mindset. Yeah, that one sucked. But that's what happens. The thing about the harmonica is, if you play a little bit or you play too long, your lips and your mouth, they start to tire out, and then you can't get that embouchure, that shape to be able to blow single notes. And they're like, oh, just deep relaxed mouth position. Yeah, you got to be really relaxed, and I have that thing, almost swallowing it so you can hit those notes. But today's topic is when you know you're on the right path. Like, I know I'm on the right path by just because I know I am. Just the way I feel, the way I look, and just how I've been doing this day after day after day, and without fail. I mean, I've been doing this again day after day after day, always up at the same time, always at the gym, always walking, always hitting my freaking nutrition. Nutrition is kind of the tricky part, because you gotta kind of focus on a certain amount of foods. That way it's repeatable, and it's and you're able to measure it out and not spend too much time meal prepping. Like, it took me a while today to meal prep because I'm trying to set up myself, because I'm about to go into my reverse diet. So I needed to add a few more, sources of carbs in there, and then start at the same calorie intake that I'm at now, at like 1980. That way I can reverse diet out to, my 2560, 2600 range for maintenance calories. So I had to do some finagling. I put some in, pull some out, switch some things around, and just make it as simple as possible. Also, I like to select foods that are like shelf stable, like apples and sweet potatoes. What else? Broccoli. I can just freeze the broccoli, and rice. So I have to kind of cycle through, a sweet potato, 400 grams of sweet potato, smoothie, and a protein smoothie in the morning, before pre-workout, or just in the morning as soon as I wake up. That's the first thing I drink to get my protein and my carbs in. And then I go to the gym, and then after the gym, it's going to be 4 eggs, a cup of oats, and 2 apples. And then for lunch, it's going to be 170 grams of chicken. It's going to be 175 grams of rice, and then 2 more apples. And then for dinner, it'll be 170 grams of 93.7 ground beef. I believe like 150 grams, maybe 200 grams of broccoli, and 2 more apples. So it keeps it pretty steady. I mean, again, apples are pretty shelf stable. Broccoli, you can freeze it. You can make a shit ton of rice and weigh it out and freeze it. I'm pretty sure I said no sweet potatoes. The chicken and the ground beef I make ahead of time. Like, I usually spend like a couple hours making at least, a whole month's worth supply of the ground beef and the ground chicken. That way all I have to do is just get it out of the deep freeze and just weigh it. But back on track is how you know you're on the right path. And a lot of videos say you start to get a lot of hate. and a lot of sort of accomplishments. But I think you're going to get hate first, because I found myself finding 2 examples, maybe 3 examples of like jealousy and hate. Like the first one was when I was at a company picnic, and it's a small company, there's only 12 of us, but they had, the shit food, the peasant food. Hamburgers, hot dogs, potato salad, macaroni salad, and chips, and cookies. And I'm like, we're like, you're not gonna eat that? I'm like, no, it's gonna knock me out of my calorie deficit. We're like, what are you at a calorie deficit of 1,500? I'm like, no, like 2180, 1,900 calories. And they know I don't eat crap like that. Like they always try to, once in a while they'll get pizza, and I'm like, I don't eat pizza. I just don't eat it. So, but one of the owner's son was all talking smack about like, oh, something about his calorie. Somebody told me third hand, but I don't really care. But I'm just repeating it because just for the sake of argument and for the sake of content, that he said something about my calories or why I'm in a calorie deficit or some crap like that. And so I kind of knew like that was sort of jealousy, because the kid's only like 22 years old. So, and he's gotten to the point where he thinks he's such a big shot that he doesn't have to get out of his equipment and dig in the ground with a shovel or anything like that. He's just a dipshit. But 22-year-old don't know anything. But that was like one of the first signs. And then I was at Men's Alliance, a meeting, and we were just about, I just showed up, and it was right before the workout, and one of the guys was like, man, you're losing weight. He's like, what are you, he's like, what are you weighing? And I'm like, I'm at like 158-ish, and this is the guy that doesn't, run marathons, so he should be ripped as fuck, but he's not. So, and then he was, after the workout and stuff, and before the devotion, and he made a comment. He's like, the next time I see you, you'll be at like 140 pounds. And I'm like, what a dipshit. Like, yeah, I guess he thinks he knows about nutrition and, training, which he does. As far as, I'll give him the fact that he does marathons, and he's a pretty good runner. I'm not, a marathon's not in my wheelhouse. I don't ever think I'll run or train for a marathon, because training for a marathon takes way more, effort than actually running a marathon. And I'm that's just not in my wheelhouse. That's not on my goal. That's not on my bucket list. I don't think I want to run for like 6 hours. Like, no, that's good. I'll stick to my 10,000 to 15,000 steps in my 5Ks, It's not that it's too hard. It's just that it'll take up way too much time and energy. And again, that's just not my goal. So that sort of stuff. And then the other one, I went out to do some water samples at a job site, and they were replacing a tank. And he's like, oh, here comes Mr. Fit. And I just ignore people. I ignore him anyway because he's a dipshit. But that's just, a couple of examples of, like, I know I'm on the right track. And the boss really hasn't talked to me, but of late, he's been, like, really, really avoiding me. So I think that's another sign that, I'm sort of on the right track, and they're starting to see, the effort and the results that I'm putting in. I mean, it's too bad that I'm not going to be there long enough to show them, in December. I'm just not going to do it. They're just a bunch of dickheads, and I don't feel like I need to be there any longer. I've outlived them, or I've outgrown them. Not really outlived them, but I've outgrown them. And it's just time for me to move on to bigger and better things. That's why I launched just Weakness to Warrior Mindset. Started posting. I hope you will see once YouTube allows me to put up the thumbnail. I hope you like it. I hope you read that from weakness to transformation to warrior. I mean, it's pretty much everything underneath the subtitles or the headlines, as far as weakness. And I designed it to where in weakness, people are walking away from you. And during transformation, you pretty much are in a firestorm. And people, you are shedding people. Those same people are walking away even more. And then your glory. A nice scenery with the sunshine on your head and all your glory and all your warriorness. You know, you've transformed and you've gotten to the point where you are confident. You've went through the consistency. You still stay consistent. You've been tracking your goals. You've been tracking your macros. You've been meal prepping. You've got your 15,000 steps, 10 to 15,000. You've been hitting the gym. You've been doing progressive overload. You've been trying different things, getting out in the world. You know, trying to learn a new language, trying to learn a new skill. All these things during your transformation. Again, a lot of it's going to be on your own. Just like this harmonica I practice alone. I butchered it. That was the Ballad of Peso Bill. So it's the high notes. The most things that suck about the harmonica is the draw to and the high notes. Anything above the sixth draw and the sixth below, you know, they're kind of the hardest. But you just have to keep practicing and practicing and to get to where you want to go in life. No one's going to be there to hold your hand. No one's going to be there to pat you on the back. It takes you. It takes faith in the Lord Almighty upstairs, and faith in your own, you know, willingness and determination to get things done and to get where you want to go in life. Because I can't believe that you're happy with what you are or how you look right now or your life as you see it right now. Like, look around. And whatever age you're at, say you're like in your 30s or whatever, and you're working in your job, look at your boss. Do you want to be your boss? Or do you want to be in the position of your boss? I mean, is he miserable? Is he ripped? Is he jacked? Or is he, you know, overworked and bitches about everything and stressed out and probably has a failing marriage? And I mean, is that where you want to be in 10 years? Is that where you want to be when you're at his age? You got to have better aspirations for yourself. This can't be the end all. Be like, I'll be a manager someday. Well, look at your managers. Look at the, you know, direct representation of how they are. Because if that's how they are, that's how you're going to be. And I can't sit here and believe that some of you want to be in that position or want to be like that. You may want the money, but I don't think you want the headache and heartache. So if you put the effort in now and start to prepare yourself and just take it day by day and worry about today, and tomorrow will come, and you just repeat. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Eventually you'll get to where you're going. Whatever goals it is. Maybe it's going to be ripped. Maybe it's, you know, ripped and jacked. I hope that's your goal to be. I mean, that's the purpose of this channel, is to be, that's the Sonda saying I have 5 minutes left, so don't worry. So I hope that's where you want to be in life. You know, to be ripped and jacked, because that's the first part. That's how you set up your foundations. Once you set that foundation, you can build a nice solid structure on top of that foundation. But it takes you building that foundation. It takes you getting the discipline. It takes you setting up your goals, even if they're small. Start with the small ones, and then start to grow them. Knock them off the list. Make a list of things you want to accomplish before the end of the year's out. You still got 6 months left. It's still a lot of time. By the time you get to the end of the year, then you can go into bear mode, where you can, you know, if you haven't gotten to your appointed body percent focus, then you can just do a mini cut during the winter and come out during the summer. Like you were saying, I want abs for summer. Well, you're going to have all winter to do it. You'd have like 4 months. That's the perfect time. No one's going to know. You'll be wearing long clothes. So set your goals. Build your foundation. Build your platform and your launching port. And then that's where you can take off from. Weakness Warrior Mindset.